Welcome to The Kingdom Sleeps, the fantasy bedtime story decided by the roll of a dice. My name's Andrew, I'll be your story master for this evening.
And my name's Tom, and I have the pleasure of playing Yohm.
Tonight, we will be starting part 1 of a new adventure for Yohm, the adventure of Lüdock's Cave. Tom, can you tell us a little bit about how Yohm's journey has gone so far?
Well, it's been quite a busy few weeks for Yohm, to say the least. He's a young man that's sort of been thrust into a position of import, it would seem, as he's received a bit of a calling, which has made him change his ways a little bit, as was grown up to be quite a solitary, independent person who doesn't play too well with others, but still holds a kind heart. Lately, he's had to get into a few uncomfortable situations and build some bridges and learn a lot more about the world he inhabits, even pushing him to new places as of late and surviving minor catastrophes and mystical circumstances. He's finding himself in a new, potentially dangerous place real soon, and with that, a new adventure awaits, really. So, a little bit scared, he marches on, as he often likes to do.
I have every confidence in Yohm's ability to take on these new challenges. I'd just like to quickly say, before we begin tonight's story, a huge thank you, as always, to our Patreons for helping to support this show. We genuinely couldn't do it without you, so we really appreciate your support. If you'd like to help support this podcast, if you've been listening and enjoying, you can check out the link below. And if you'd like to come along and discuss the show with us and show us any art that you've been producing, or just talk a little bit about D&D in general, you can join our Discord as well, where the link will also be in the description. But now, close your eyes, make yourselves comfortable, and join us where the kingdom sleeps. Yohm continues to take steady, even, but laboured steps through the sleet and gravel-covered floor in this snowy, arid, cold landscape of Brusjama that he journeys through now. It has been perhaps just a little under 3 hours since he set forward from his unexpected landing site in the blimp, and ventures forward in this bleak and unfamiliar landscape in the hopes of reaching a nearby village where he might find some help to fix the blimp so that himself, Tonto, his spirit friend, and the rest of the guildsmen can carry on their journey to Mjolnir, the capital of Brusjama. After Yohm's recent surreal and profound encounter with the blue mamu in the dry gullies not some paces back, and the subsequent vision of this blue eye and the things that it said to him, you remain a little bit shaken, I suppose, but resolute and somewhat empowered by this experience. And you continue forth your journey towards this village, challenging as it is. Now, on the remainder of your journey, you will have encountered a few more obstacles in your way. I'm going to say that the first large obstacle you'd have found was that part-way through your gullies, you would have come across a deep crevasse that fell perhaps 30 feet and was a 5 foot wide across, that didn't seem to have any sort of easy way of walking over in terms of any kind of rock bridge or such. I'm going to ask you first how you think Yohm would have navigated that sort of terrain, and I'll get you to roll for his success.
His natural instinct would be to take a firm run up and leap across, usually being quite agile and adept on his feet. With the situation at hand, though, he's a little bit more nervous than usual.
I will make clear, just for yourself and for the viewers at home, that as from the last episode, you still suffer 2 levels of exhaustion, so that's disadvantage on skill checks and half movement speed at the moment.
Considering all of that, and a bold display of acrobatics maybe not be the right course of action. And so I think he's going to try and take it slow and gently clamber to the edge, testing the strength of the ground beneath his feet as he goes, making sure it's nice and strong, and he will try his best to half lower and climb across without a risk of a jump, but a prop from one side to the other, finding some footing where he can and just shimmying his weight at the most narrow point he can find.
I'm going to get you to roll both an acrobatics and a strength check, please, for this maneuver.
Okay. And we'll do acrobatics first.
That will have to be disadvantage, yeah.
And for acrobatics, that's going to be a 4 from a natural 1. And for strength, that's going to be a 1 from a natural 1.
As Yohm attempts to lower himself into this gully, getting as firm a grip on either side as to sort of frame himself against the rocky surfaces. This cold, this tired, this weariness really sets in with the first sort of forceful amount of strength and dexterity that he's needed to use to accomplish this. Fails him completely. His hands and one of his feet drop across the rocks. His back falls so that he is dropping head down, and he hits the bottom of this gully, which is layered with a soft, untouched snow, which somewhat takes his fall, but he will take 20 feet of fall damage for this.
Alright then. Oh, Tonto. Are you okay?
There is no response as yet from Tonto, but you roll me a perception check, please.
That'll be 10.
You can just about feel his steady, even breathing inside of your cloak. And you're fairly sure he's not even quite noticed that has happened.
Good. And then I look around for a way out or forward.
Now, having found yourself at the bottom of this crevasse, it is essentially a long passageway that actually curves around. And based on the direction that you were heading before, you would probably move forward in the direction that you landed. moving around this way for just a little while, you will eventually come out to sort of a cliff's edge that you can determine has actually probably saved you time falling down this gully. Noticing that above you was quite a tumultuous, rocky terrain that angled downwards in a way that maybe would have taken you longer to traverse. Now coming out into this sort of like open cliff edge, there is one steep-ish angled drop. I'd say it's probably just under, more acute than a 45-degree angle of dusty, almost sandy terrain that leads down to another sort of cliff face. You've got two kind of platforms like this. And down from there, you'll notice that there is quite an even, almost set of rocky steps that will lead you to what looks like a forest below. But there doesn't seem, without further investigation, any other way to get down this slope to the ledge below other than to throw yourself down it in some way. That would be the way. How do you think Yohm would traverse this?
If there was a chance it was at all possible, he'd take the opportunity to try out one of his childhood pastimes. He was quite a fan of sand surfing growing up. He slid around on many dunes. And this seems, even though he's a little unfamiliar with quite how snow works, it seems like it might be the right sort of opportunity to try and skate his way down this slope once again.
So, go ahead and roll me an investigation.
And that's going to be a 4.
I think as far as Yohm can see, that might just about do it. And so, does he intend to slide with 2 feet down this terrain?
Essentially, yes.
Okay. Please roll me acrobatics.
You know, much better this time on a 15.
And so well practiced in sand sledding across the dunes of Schwarzsuna, Yohm picks back up that childhood habit and finds that it is not dissimilar in this terrain at all, it being sort of this granular mix almost of snow, sleet and fine gravel. And as he leaps and ascends and slides down to the bottom, he manages to smoothly get himself down to the cliff face, unharmed and just before the edge, so as not to fall directly over, and lands neatly next to the path. Now, once he's reached here, this will be the first time that he's actually managed to get a good look at the village, which he has been heading towards all this time, it being less than a mile away and Yohm still being at quite a height at a vantage point to look down and out over it, with the steps that lead down into the forest towards it just by him. But as he looks out, he notices 2 two things right away. The first being that this village, with its quaint buildings and warm, glowing light that emanated from so far away, is actually surrounded by a huge circular stone wall with regular watchtowers across its edge, and a huge portcullis door with massive columns of raw, unadulterated, bright stone. These might be the largest masses of bright stone that Yohm has seen in one place, in one structure. Roll me a history check or an arcana check, please, whatever you prefer.
I think we'll go for history on that one. That's going to be a 6.
This reminds you very much of something that someone would have showed you as a child out of a book that you vaguely remember to be of the history of the last Great War. It looks like a castle of some sort that you would have seen in this book as a child. But the memory is hazy, and the resemblance is slight. So that's the first thing that Yohm would have noticed. The second thing is that behind this village, what really looks like a small town, fortified town, behind the back wall, looming over the top of it almost from behind, is this huge cave entrance that comes right up to a peak to appear as if a gnarled and cragged triangle. And it is, at its peak, almost double the height of the wall of the town itself. It truly looms over it as if a shadow, and at the top of the entrance is a mass of whirling and undulating blue mamu spirits that from this distance almost look like a whirlpool in water floating in the air. What goes through Yohm's mind as he looks at these things?
Am I ready for this? Thinking if each one of those turns into one of those creatures from before, well, we're doomed. Nonetheless, this place must be very important to their mamu. Their movements. Definitely not as random as we once thought.
And is there anything that Yohm would like to do before descending the stony steps towards the forest floor?
This, how dense does this forest seem from this distance?
It's fairly easy to see that the forest doesn't look as if it's so overcrowded that you couldn't necessarily walk through it. There are gaps here and there that allow you to see what looks like a reasonably flat forest floor, perhaps just some short flora and bushels, but the canopy is thick and the trees certainly touch each other and are nestled together.
Well, before descending any further, Yohm will pull out his trusty Brightstone compass and make sure his bearings are true, and lining up this fortified village with where he is now, and knowing, and without the sky to rely on, his sense of direction is severely diminished.
So pulling out that compass and getting his bearings straight, he'll descend those rocky steps, and it is not long before his feet reach down to the soft snow of the forest floor, and his legs are brushing past the drooping leaves of bracken that nestle themselves between these huge pine-looking trees. And Yohm is fully immersed within the smells and sounds and sight of this forest. Quite different to the forest he might have experienced more recently, in that iridescent spirit realm of the Mamu. This is, perhaps by comparison, more rigid looking forest, more straight lines and perfect curves, as these trees and flora and foliage seem to almost symmetrically sit amongst each other. And Yohm will be seeing a lot of plants he's never seen before. This is a truly unique environment for him. And as he makes his way through, it is at this point he will feel a rustling and a rummaging inside of his cloak as an almost itching Tonto worms his head out from the inside of his cloak, looks up with his large, bright eyes and quite a refreshed face to you and says,
Yohm, I think I'd like to get down now.
Of course, be my guest.
And he scurries up the rest of Yohm's chest and plumps himself down to the ground. As he does so, you'll notice that his form is now at its usual size, his larger size, about half the height almost of Yohm from the ground, nearly, with his coral antlers. You'll also notice that his tail is a bit longer, a bit bushier, like that of a squirrel's, but larger, perhaps, and his paws are a little bit bigger and more padded, like that of, say, baby bear, a large baby bear. And he looks very well rested as he trots along next to you, looking around.
So, how are you feeling, Tonto?
Oh, much better, thank you, Yohm. I needed to rest. I feel... I don't know, like I want to do things.
Good. You look well.
Thanks. You don't look so well, Yohm.
Oh, well, that's okay. It's been a hard walk so far, but we're almost there.
And And you can see that Tonto looks a little dejected. His brow furrows and he looks up at you and says,
I'm sorry, Yohm.
What for?
Well, we promised that we would look out for each other, and I have just been, well, looking out for myself, and you've had such a hard time to get us here, and I should have been here.
Don't be foolish. I, Groob, Laurel, Hader, each of us would likely be dead if it weren't for you. So you earned your rest, my friend.
Okay, if you say so.
Oh, I do. And trust me, when we're there, I'll have earned mine.
Yes.
But not until then. So a little ways to go.
Well, don't worry. I feel better now, Yohm, and I'll be looking out for you this time.
I have no doubt about it. And I gently kick at the back of his tail with my foot, just to sort of lift it and flop it around a little bit, indicating his new sort of stature.
you can see his arms sort of raise up to his chest as he tries to turn his whole body to only just notice for the first time this large bushy tail that's coming out from behind him.
Oh, I don't remember doing that.
Huh. Was it not when you were sleeping?
Well, it must have been, because I fell asleep without it and woke up with it.
I wonder. Do you remember anything from when you were sleeping, Tonto?
Not a lot, no. I could feel you moving. Oh, but I couldn't see anything, or at least I was trying not to see anything. And then, of course, the blue eye came for a while.
You saw the eye?
Yes, I did. He was with both of us.
He was?
I see.
Did you... how did you know that he was with me?
I didn't. I just felt he was there, but it sounds like he was with you as well.
He was. And he asked me a question. Or a couple, I think.
What did he ask?
Who I was. And what I was trying to do, I think. It's blurry. Did it speak to you, Tonto?
Yes.
And what did it say?
Just told me to rest, and that soon I would feel better.
One thing I definitely remember. He wants us to find it.
Oh. That should be easy.
Should it?
Yes.
Do you feel it, Tonto?
Not right now, but if I try to feel it, and it was near, then I'm sure I would feel it.
And this blue eye, it makes you feel good? You trust it?
Of course.
Alright then, well, That settles that then. We've got another friend to find. Hey. Strange friend.
If he spoke to both of us, then they must be nearby, I'm sure.
And that means it must be another Mamu?
I think so.
Huh. Well, that's incredible. How did it? And Yohm sort of falls into himself as many different trails of thought start spiraling through his head, and as that crunch of foot falls underneath, every now and then pulling his arm away from reaching at a strange plant or trying to ignore an interesting bit of tree in his peripheries. He is tired and he is quite hurt, but he knows that town must be close.
As Yohm's mind is so occupied with these spinning thoughts and new revelations from Tonto's conversation, like you say, trying to just keep making his way forward but not be too distracted by the new things surrounding him. Roll me a perception check, please.
And that'll be a 9.
With a 9, you can't help but be startled awake from your musings deep in your mind by a sound unfamiliar ahead of you. Somewhere in the woods, a crack, almost like smashing glass, or perhaps a small explosion of sorts, rings out in the forest around you. As far as you can tell, comes from somewhere just ahead, over to your right, veering slightly away from the direction you pinned on your compass.
Did that sound natural or more artificial?
Roll me a nature check, please.
That'll be a 14.
From that, you could have discerned that it is more natural than not, or at least in the sense that whatever the material was that made that cracking or smashing noise was made of natural materials and not anything too forged.
Yeah. Tonto.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Knee cracking?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it's important?
I have honestly no idea. But stay close. Stay low. We'll see if we can figure it out. And I'll try to approach it as quietly as I can, whilst trying to get a better idea of what caused the noise.
As you step quietly forward, crack, another noise just the same, coming from roughly the same direction. As your steps carry on through the forest, that canopy above you gets a little bit denser, and those small gaps that were overhead the first part of your journey, just letting in those little slithers of the moonlight from the open sky are now diminishing, and you're getting into a much darker area. What you see around you starts to become colourless, and you're depending on your vision, which is now desaturated and only based on outlines and shadows. Even still, continue to creep forward. Crack! Again, echoing through the forest. Now you are just slightly further forward. Is there anything Yohm would like to do?
What sort of distances would he guess these noises were coming from?
Based still on this perception check of 9, I will say possibly only 30 feet away.
And all from roughly in the same direction, or have they been coming from different areas?
Exactly the same location, though difficult to perceive due to the ringing echo throughout the forest.
Well, he's just going to scramble around on the floor nearby and try and find any decently sized rock or a half-wieldable stick of sorts. Just something that might be able to be thrown if needed.
Roll me an investigation check, please.
That's going to be a 2.
Yohm is really not in his element right now, and scrambling in amongst the foliage on the ground beneath him to look for anything that he could use to potentially throw. He can't find any sort of loose stick, and there seems to be no sizable rock. As much as he could find is a handful of sort of loose gravel and what is like a large pine cone looking thing, but it's got only 4 pines that stick out on opposite sides, though it is very light. It is sort of the side fits within the palm of his hand, but it isn't heavy in any way. But these are the best you can find.
And he'll just pocket the pine for now and keep a tight fistful of grit at the ready as he just carries on trying to sneak himself ever so closer to what may be causing this sound.
As he navigates his way towards the sound, which persistently and regularly in slightly prolonged intervals, smash, continues to go on. He eventually gets a little bit closer to what he perceives to be the source, the sound. In amongst the woodland, in a barely open clearing, only slightly more open than this dense area of forest. He'll perceive a fluttering glow of warm light against a portion of trees. And what looks like from this distance like a large barrier of some kind in front of the light source. What it looks like from here is that someone has lit some kind of fire. It looks like the flickering warmth of a fire. They're trying to obscure the fact that they've lit that fire so that the bulk share of the light is not spread too far out of the forest. And you can just see this peripheral glow against the trees around which they are stood. Crack. you hear another one of these noises.
Okay. I think we need not be scared, Tonto.
What do you think it is?
I think someone might just be out getting some firewood.
Oh. Okay. Do we say hello?
Sure. I can't see why not. That's why we're here. I don't know if you've seen yet though, Tonto, just be wary. This village is laden with bright stone.
Oh.
I think they're relics of the past, don't get me wrong, but people of this place don't take as kindly to Mamu as those of us from the desert.
Okay. Well, what does that mean?
It means try not to do anything that might seem strange to another person, which I know is a hard thing to say for both of us, but
So, I don't know what that means.
I'll just try and be your usual cute and disarming.
Okay.
And stay close with me.
Okay.
I don't want to startle anyone. We need to make friends here.
We've been really good at making friends so far.
Yeah. So far.
Okay.
Well, we get within a low shouting distance. that unspoken distance that travellers know in their heart to be close but not impetuously so. Enough to shout but not startle. And as soon as I believe to be within that range. Oh there. I mean you no harm. I see Cade.
As soon as you say these words, that just ring out a little bit across the forest, that intermittent cracking noise ceases, and there is a stillness for a few moments, and then just from the other side of this barrier that shields the light of the fire, you see a small figure just poke out, only a silhouette. You can barely make out any detail, but the figure is short, and you hear what sounds like a child's voice.
Who is that?
My name is Yohm. I was travelling by airship. We ran aground. I've been travelling for hours. I see Cade. I am a friend.
Silence for a few more moments.
Please, sir, may we approach your fire? I'm deathly cold.
Yes. Is that a Mamu?
Yes, he is. He is with me.
Is he safe?
Yeah, I promise you. On all the marks in my pocket, he is safe.
Okay. You can come here.
Thank you.
and you see the silhouettes sort of rush back behind the barrier.
As I approach, I try and, as best I can, hide the wear of this journey, try to soften myself, which is no small feat, and just prepare myself to potentially deal with a scared individual. And with my warmest of tones, I breach the barricade and immediately lower myself to the warmth of the fire, catch my breath for a moment. Nice to meet you.
As you've just moved past that barricade, move yourself towards the warmth of this fire, which is incredibly welcome in this cold environment. It's perhaps the first time that you've really noticed the cold by the comparison of the warmth of this crackling fire. As you look up to see the person that greeted you before, you see a small Dwergar child, a young girl, and she has her hands behind her back. She is leaning right up against the tree that is furthest away from the fire and is looking at you with wide eyes and slightly trembling jaw. Roll me an insight check, please.
Oh, and that's going to be a 15.
On a 15, you will just about notice her eyes darting from left to right, different gullies, avenues within the forest, and you suspect that if your next words aren't particularly warming, she may try to run away.
It's nice to meet you. My name is Yohm. This is my friend Tonto. We've been travelling with members of the Guardians Guild and the Constructors too, heading for the capital. And something happened to our ship and we crashed. And I'm sorry for approaching you in the dark like this. I travel a lot myself, I know. It can be scary. But I'm not from here. And I'm very cold. So I'd appreciate if we could use your fire for a moment. I have marks. I'll happily pay for the effort. I know it's not easy to start a fire. You must be very brave to do it out here.
The young girl looks at you now with a slightly open mouth and really wide eyes. And after a moment of what you can only assume is sort of startled shock, he says,
"You can use my fire, but please don't tell anyone I was here."
Of course, that's a promise. Are you okay?
Yes, I am fine. I am just a little bit startled because I was trying not to be found. But yes, usually when I come to this place, nobody is around, nobody. And I've never been approached, and when I heard a voice, I thought maybe it was one of the guards from the village who found me here, and then they were trying to trick me and bring me back, and then they would take me back to my father,
okay.
And he would be angry.
It's okay, breathe. We are no guards. We're your friends. Relax for a moment.
What was your name again?
It is Yohm. And this is Tonto.
Yohm. Tonto. I'm Ira.
Ira. That's a nice name. Ira. Are you from this village?
Yes.
And why are you out here then?
Well, for a little while now, I have been coming out here to just be. I like the forest, but we are not regularly allowed to go out, and especially not since the Mamu attack.
Oh, that was the Mamu attack recently.
Yes.
Did anyone get hurt, Ira?
Few people. My mother was one of them.
Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. Is she okay now?
She is still hurt, but the healer, they say that she will be fine.
You have a healer here from the guild?
Yes.
Good. They're good people. I'd believe them. Well, as crazy as this may sound, that airship we were travelling in, we were on a special mission of sorts to meet some people in Muneberg and try and do something about these Mamu attacks.
Oh.
And that's why it's important I find help for my friends who are still up there.
You can do something about the Mamoon attacking.
Well,
you have to do something. Everyone is so scared now. They usually thought that the Brightstone, it would stop them, and it has for a long time, but just now it didn't. And now nobody knows what to do. Everyone seems panicked, especially my father, and it's not the same in the village anymore.
No. The same thing was happening where I grew up. And it's hard to believe. But people are right to be scared. And strange things are happening. But me and my little friend here, we're going to do something about it.
That is really good.
Yeah. When we get to Muneberg. Ira, do you have any constructors or artisans in your village that work with Brightstone? Do you know?
Oh, yes. Well, yes. There are constructors who build the mining equipment, and other things that we need. My father says there is a Brightstone shortage at the moment, though.
Seems hard to believe here.
Well, my father says that the Mamu won't let them into the cave anymore.
What's your father's name, Ira?
Guru?
Do you think we'd be able to meet your father? Would that be okay?
Maybe. You can't, because then he'll know that I was here, and he can't know that I was here.
No, we don't have to tell him. And we were heading to our village anyway.
Maybe I could show you the way. And as he says that, he looks over at Tonto, who is sat by the fire, waving his hand
through it, playing with parts of it, almost trying to scoop elements of its wiggling form into his hand. And Ira looks at Tonto.
I've never seen a mamu this close and this calm, and I've never seen a yellow mamu.
Well, yellow mamu are quite fun little things where I come from, but even saying that Tonto he's special.
Thanks, Yohm,
says Tonto.
It's okay. He very gently mutters.
You know, no one will let you come into the village with Tonto. They will either force him out or they will try to take him.
These guards, you say, they always station the gates? Is it a new thing?
Ever since the attack, they are ever watchful for Mamu, more than people.
And are they guardians or
No,
local people?
we don't have a big guardians force here, and so it's just some of the harvesters, most of the miners have taken up the course to have posts. My brother is one of them.
Okay, well, I'll need to speak to someone, then. I'm not afforded the luxury of choice, I'm afraid.
You could sneak in. That's how I get out. Usually I used to sneak at the gate when it wasn't so guarded, but recently I found a hole, a small hole that the Mamu made, but they didn't find that one, so I covered it in barrels and then and now I use it.
Well done. It's clever thinking. Well, if we get inside successfully, would you be able to tell me the way to find a guardian? Do you know where one may be?
I'm not sure that we have a guardian here. They said that they would be coming soon. They have sent for help.
Okay, yeah. Well, do you know who's in charge then?
Oh, yeah, it is a few people. There is a council for Teort, the village. The leader is Hugus. But there are a few people on the council. My father is one of them.
And do you think they'd talk to me if we got in?
If you got in and you said that you were going to help with the Mamu, I'm sure they would. But I really don't think they would let you go in with Tonto. Can I touch him?
Of course. Tonto, he wants to be your friend.
Oh, I knew we'd make friends real quick.
And Tonto's smiling face looks over and up at Ira, and Ira is now backing away from the tree in that position she's been in this entire time you've been talking, gently raising out a hand, taking very small, gentle steps towards her. Now, roll me a perception check. And
That'll be an 8.
Sure. You notice as she brings her hands forward, she drops one just behind her side. And she's just reaching out for Tonto. She's got something like clasped in her hand, like a dark ovalish thing. And it's just obscured by the back of her leg. She's moving forward, and the other hand reaches out towards Tonto, and Tonto reaches up one of these new, thick, padded paws. And they touch.
Ha! Hello, little Tonto.
He is your friend now. Congratulations.
Tonto looks up to you.
Does she like me? Good. I like her.
Yeah. Thank you, Ira, for taking the time to let us in your camp.
That's okay. I would like to help if I can. You promised you won't tell anyone I was here.
No, I promise. Us travellers, we gotta look after each other.
Do. I'd love to be a traveller like you.
Look, you already are. Making fires under the stars in the dead of night. That's what we do.
But I'm not allowed. I shouldn't be here.
That's why we're travellers. We don't stay for long. Don't feel down on yourself. Right? People are scared, and grown-ups handle being scared differently. And they don't mean to be mean. Trust yourself. You'll be okay.
You see a really warm smile and pursed lips at these words. And the warmth that you've given her with those words is evident as the first proper smile bubbles up on her face.
There's a very similar one grows to meet hers on Yohm's face too. Just pausing for a moment and realising the sort of mirrored moment that he's in now compared to near 20 years ago when a kind old lady was saying similar things to him. Now, tell me, where is this secret passage of yours?
Oh, it's just over there.
She raises her hand, directing it through the woods. A little bit further right, so you'd be curving again, just another degree away from where you believed the portcullis entrance to the village would be. And as she raises her hand, you'll notice in it this round object that she held behind her back. And it is one of the pine cones that you picked up from before. It's slightly smaller. It fits in her hand perfectly. Would look small in your palm, but it is the same. You can tell from its 4 pines that stick out on opposite sides.
If you head straight through there, you will find a few scattered pieces of wood near a small hole, but there are guards in the towers, so you have to be careful and make sure that they don't see.
Okay, I can do that. As he reaches into his pocket to find the small object that he put in there moments ago, and gently, not making a big deal of it at all, just pulls it out whilst talking to Ira still. And you think I'll be able to fit through there? I'm not quite as small as you.
And she looks at you as you ask this question, and the entire time she answers, her eyes dart between your face and what you hold in your hand and your face.
Yes, it was quite big for me, so I think you should fit through fine. That's a really big one.
Good to know. I've never seen one before, and... Well, you want to know something funny here?
What?
I picked this up because I was scared of you.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
You were gonna throw it at me?
Well, something. I don't know.
You ever thrown one before?
No.
Do it. Throw it against the tree.
No, okay. He just very casually, without putting much thought into it, just flicks it off over the side towards some tree close by.
As it sort of gently hurtles in an arc through the air and lands nicely, decidedly on the edge of a bark, you hear that crack that you were hearing just before, and as you do, those 4 spines that were on opposite edges, you can now see are much larger on the inside and dart out on either side like arrows as it makes this cracking explosion.
Oh. And these just come from the trees, do they?
They're everywhere. I love to throw them.
And I can see why. That's it's quite exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And do they hurt?
Oh. No. Well, not if you're at a safe distance. If you threw one at someone or at something, it'd probably be fine, but if you get hit with an arrow, yeah, it would sting.
Be careful, then. I'm sure you'll find many more while you're out here.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere.
It's good to know. I'll be sure to keep my eye out for more. Never know when nature may come in handy. And actually, and he reaches into his small satchel that he still has with him, rummages around for a moment and pulls out this almost foot-long, dry, mostly root, but some part of a weed still attached on the top. This, actually, you can find this where I come from, at home. I know it doesn't look like much, and it's probably not as exciting as these, but if you hold it in just a way and blow through it like so, it'll make this nice noise. You'd like that.
And she takes it from your hands.
It's called a whistleweed from Schwarzuna.
That was really amazing. I can have it?
It's yours. But you just found it, remember? Fell out of the sky.
Yes, true.
She gives a little blow herself and hears that resonant whistle and gets a lot of joy from it.
Yes, I will say that it fell from the sky. I will give you something.
And she rummages in these big pockets on the side of her robe and pulls out this brass, almost looks like a plate, a rounded plate, kind of like a large coin, but with slightly concave surface. On it is marked a triangle with a sideways profile of an old stone Dwergar face.
I found this. I like it a lot, but I like you too. And you gave me a gift, so I'd like to give you one.
Are you sure? It's quite nice.
Yes, I am sure.
Well, thank you, then, Ira. I have a friend who would absolutely adore to see this. Where did you find it?
Oh. Well, you can't tell anyone, especially not my father.
Of course.
The last time he was able to get into the mine, he pulled in the hole like he always does and put it in the loading barn. And sometimes I like to hang around in the loading barn and look at the stone, and anyway, I saw it at the bottom of the barrel of Brightstone. I don't think anyone else saw it, so I picked it up.
Good. You really are a traveller now. Finding goods, trading them out in the wilds. I should be proud.
Thanks, Yohm. Wish my dad would say that.
I'm sure he thinks it.
Maybe.
Words weigh less when you're strangers. They're easier to pass around.
I'll remember that.
And I'll remember you. Though I'm sorry to say, if we do meet again, I won't act like it. So please don't feel bad, and we'll do it on purpose, okay?
Okay.
But I and Tonto will always be your friends now.
You think maybe we could go traveling together? One day?
Yeah, maybe. When we've finished this quest of ours.
I'd like that.
Maybe after we help your mum and cheer up your dad.
She gives a very hearty, enthusiastic nod.
Well, thank you. I'm just gonna, if it's okay, rest here just a moment longer. And then try and find some of these grown-ups of yours and have a chat.
Okay. Yes, you stay as long as you need. I think I will have to go soon. Or my parents may notice I'm gone.
Of course. That's okay. And it's probably better you go first anyway. You know you can definitely get in, or I wouldn't want to ruin your secret passage before you've had the chance to use it.
Good idea. Well, I'll see you around, I guess.
Yeah. Definitely. Thank you. Ira.
Thank you. Good luck, Yohm.
And she looks around herself, quick to either side, looks back at you just for one prolonged glance, and spins around and darts through the forest over towards where her special secret entrance was pointed.
And as he tries to settle down for a short rest at least, Yohm will pay close attention to the path Ira takes. And rest just for a short while, just just enough to get back a little bit of his vigour at least. And as much as he would like to rest longer, after that short while, duty would get him back on his feet, knowing there are people waiting and relying on him not too far away.
During this short rest, are you lying down? Are you closing your eyes? Are you sleeping? Or are you attempting to keep your wits about you?
Somewhat so. A restful meditation. And try and slump his back up against a tree that's close by, but still sat up. Tonto, I'm going to be trying to rest a moment. Do let me know if you see anything strange.
Okay. Sure thing, Yohm. I'll keep a lookout. Don't worry. You rest now.
Thank you, and every now and then, if you don't mind, just throw one of those onto the fire, please.
Oh, yeah. Got it.
Thank you. And for what I believe to be the first time, Yohm and Tonto have obviously embraced quite a few times in their journey so far. This time, whilst kneeling down, Yohm will just reach out a hand and a forearm to go for a different kind of handshake than what they usually would, something a bit more stern and respectful.
As you reach out this arm, Yohm looks at your face and looks at your hand, and he recognizes this gesture, something that you've done with many other people across your travels, and also can acknowledge, you can even see in his eyes, that this is the first time you'll be doing it with him. And his somewhat childish, enthusiastic smile from being resolute to look after you whilst you rest, as you extend this hand out, fades down, and he is not upset or concerned, but he is, just for a moment there, serious. And he reaches out that padded paw and grabs your forearm and shakes it, looking into your eyes, and you feel a little bit of strength in that arm.
Thank you.
Always, Yohm.
Always. I mean, it slumps down that final bit to that squatted, comfortable in discomfort position that he is very used to at this point, just mind whirling with this new interaction, the Mamu circling this town, the fear of the people and the relics of times gone, all with these new changes of Mamu shifting and new bits of information discerned from the natural world, and seeing Tonto grow right before his eyes, both literally and otherwise. And just appreciating what a journey this has been. And how, no matter what, he and Tonto will get into this town. And however need be, he will convince these people to lend them his aid. For it's not just him and Tonto that need the help. It's everybody. As all the stories he's heard of Mamu attacks and the fear he's seen on people's faces and the worries of his friends like Ren and Hana all amalgamate to finally really implore the gravitas of this situation. And just as his eyes are almost twinkling shut, an echo bounces into his ears of that deep ethereal voice of the blue eye, saying, "Come find me." And it spurts him awake, just enough to not fall asleep properly, but to stay rested, and to know that the night is not over yet, and he must get up again and get into this town, exhausted as he may be. Real rest will be rewarded soon.
After that almost dizzying swim of dreamlike thoughts that accompanied his brief rest, and he is startled, awake. Can I ask, what is Yohm's passive perception?
That's 14.
I'm now going to roll for Tonto's perception as he sits by the fire, watching you as you rest, watching the tree line, doing as best he can to protect you as something lurks in the forest around you. And he will need over a 14 to perceive it. And with a 13, you are startled, awake in that moment you lost yourself. And you realize you are woken by something that has approached. You see Tonto in front of you, by the fire, his eyes slightly glazed, reflecting upon your face. And stood behind him a figure robed in deep purple attire, a hood covering his face, staring down at Tonto. And just in that moment, as you wake up and you see his visage, his hood is brought down, face greets you, an old, haggard face of a monstrum gentleman, which is staring down still at Tonto, and then looks up at you with a warm smile and says, "We have not had travellers here for a long, long time. Welcome to you." And there, where we will leave today's story.